always had a career in the arts. I am a commercial illustrator. I've been a graphic designer for many years, and I've been a fine artist all my life as well. I've always loved to paint and draw, and I have just carried out my own vision in my own way. I show in several galleries. I have a lot of my artwork is licensed for use as posters and front covers of magazines and calendars and all sorts of fun stuff, greeting cards, that type of thing. One of the interesting things about doing art commercially is that my client is hiring me to carry out their vision within my own style, of course, but it's interesting that you're always aware while you're carrying out your illustration that you're kind of thinking through what your client wants from you. So on some level, you're seeing your work through their eyes as opposed to working completely intuitively and just carrying out your own mind's eyes vision. So I found that over the years, when I would go into the studio to paint just for myself, without having that set of parameters to work from, and without having some, quote unquote, direction from the client, sometimes I found myself a little bit at a loss as to what I should be doing and how I should be doing it. Color-wise and not so much subject matter-wise, but just in terms of where I was going. And I also found that typically my clients wanted a more conservative style than what I would naturally gravitate to. So over the years, I actually found my work getting tighter and tighter and tighter and more and more and more conservative. And so one day I realized that with my own work, I was really not having a whole lot of fun. I was going into the studio and feeling a little bit like I didn't really know what to do. So I gave myself my own set of parameters, and that was that at all costs, I was going to have fun again, because that's why I came to art to begin with, is it was enjoyable and it was fun and expressive and free. So my new set of parameters that I gave myself was just that I was going to have fun. I was going to play with color again the way I used to many years ago when it was not a commercial job. So what happened was that I started using color in a very intuitive way. It didn't matter what the realistic subject matter was. I started substituting all sorts of unusual colors just to have fun again. And I didn't care if the work was coming out good or bad for a certain while, as long as I had fun. So that was all going well, going very nicely, and I was really enjoying this little game I had set up for myself. And what I started noticing was that some of the work was really coming out beautifully, just brilliant, unexpected, unusual colors, and beautiful gestural brushstrokes, and a very painterly style, and not conservative. But I also started noticing that some of the work was not quite so successful. Yes, I was having fun, but I realized that just because I was having fun and working very intuitively, that did not necessarily mean that the work was coming out very successful. So as a professional, I really wanted to hone in on why was some work coming out good and very successful and some work not coming out good because consistency as a professional is very important. You can't say, well, maybe it will work and maybe it won't. So what I came to understand by putting the successful pieces next to the less successful pieces was I analyzed both sets of them together, and it became clear to me what the big difference was. My aha moment came then when I realized that the successful pieces had a strong value structure to them. They communicated a light and a shadow and a structure. The values, which is another word of saying, the lightness and the darkness of certain shapes, read as what they are. And the ones that were less successful felt very kind of scattered, like they're like just a very scattered, unorganized look. So what I started doing was, before I would get involved in the paint, when I would start a painting, I would sit down and I would do exactly what I did as a graphic designer. I would do several sketches of black, white, and gray, and make sure that I had a solid, organized pattern, an attractive pattern that communicated, the light shadow effect and the actual structure of what it was I was painting. I found that when I did this, it made all the difference in my artwork. As long as, while I'm mixing up my colors, I'm sticking within the value structure of what I had already determined, I had the confidence to play with color much more freely, because I already knew that I was going to be adhering to the dark, light, and gray structure that I had already basically approved myself. So this was the big kind of moment that allowed me to play with color, to work very gesturally and very boldly and very confidently, and still have the feeling that I was working within certain parameters that would result in a successful painting.